Fliki AI has been on my list of tools to review and try out for quite a while now. I think I've been subconsciously putting it off because my experience with Invideo AI just wasn't that great. If you've seen my videos on Invideo AI, then you already know some of the challenges that I encountered and the things that I wasn't too fond of. Yes, I think it can save you some time in finding stock clips and a few other little things, but in general, it fell way short of the excessive hype around what it could do. Fliki and Invideo do similar things, but in very different ways. So let's test drive Fliki and see what it's got going on. I'm here at Fliki.ai. I'll come up and hit the login button. If you don't have an account yet, go ahead and sign up. There is a free plan available. We'll talk more about that later. And let me tell you up front, Fliki provided me with complimentary access so that I could do this test drive. As usual, that came with no guarantees from me about what I'd say or how I would say it. Back to the good stuff. Once you're logged into Fliki, the first thing we have to do is come up here in the upper right hand corner and switch to dark mode, because only psychopaths will work in light mode when dark mode is an option. This is your files page within Fliki. Every project you do inside Fliki is called a file. The 4 files that you see here are all samples or examples. These are not things I created. They were just dropped in here, but they not only show you what Fliki can do, they also give you a good starting point if you want to tinker around with the editing first. To create something new, we just come up here and hit this big hot pink button that says new file. We get a new file pop up. By default, video is selected, but of course you can change that if you want to make a voiceover or podcast, or you can do a design. So if you want to design images, thumbnails, all kinds of stuff, you can do that right within Fliki as well. We need to give it a file name. We're going to call ours test1, very original. Next, we choose a language from the drop-down, and there are quite a few to pick from. You can choose the dialect. I'm leaving the dialect at US. There's a bunch of other dialects you can choose from here as well. Then the aspect ratio, since we're doing a video, it needs to know the aspect ratio. The portrait 9:16, those are your vertical videos like for TikTok or YouTube Shorts or something like that. You can also do square or landscape. We can start with an empty file. We can start with an idea, which is a prompt, maybe a short video about the moon landing. That's all we'd have to type in. We can bring in our own script and use that as a starting point for this video. You can use a blog post, a PowerPoint, a tweet, a product. It'll ask you for a product URL, and right now they support Amazon and Airbnb. I'm going to start with an idea or prompt. Now we need to give it our prompt and tell it what we want to create. It gives us this example that says motivating video on the benefits of eating healthy, diet, and exercising. I'm not in the mood for eating healthy or exercising today, so I'm going to go back to my old standard of a fun video about cat facts. You can set the maximum duration here. Since this is a vertical video, 1 minute's going to work fine for me. You can take that down to 30 seconds for the max duration or stretch it out. It looks like 15 minutes. Now that 15 minutes may be based on the access that I have. I'm not sure what I have. So we'll take a look at that when we get to the plans. For stock media, do I want videos or do I want images? Well, heck, if videos are an option, I want video. I'm not going to fool with templates. We're going to let this thing create from scratch. And then branding, if you have your own colors and logos and whatnot, you can add all that in here and it'll use those assets and styles when it creates your video. You can click this AI media button and tell it that you want it to use AI to generate the images or AI generated videos to be used within your video. You can choose a style for your AI generated assets. Cinematic, here's the default. If we drop that down, you've got other styles that you can pick from. If we switch this from AI media image over to AI media video, it gives us a little note. AI video will consume about 24 credits for selected duration. I'm not really sure how much 24 credits is in the grand scheme of things just yet. And since I don't know whether I'm even going to like this script or I might want to make a lot of edits to it, I think I'm going to back off of the AI media for now. And that way I'm not wasting generation time or these credits on assets that I don't really need because I'm going to end up taking out this or that part of the script anyway. So I'm just going to stick with stock media, video, and hit submit. And just about a minute and a half later, we have our video.
Ever wondered why cats always land on their feet? In the next few seconds, you'll learn some mind-blowing cat facts. Cats have a unique skeletal structure that helps them twist in midair. Did you know a cat's purr can heal? Their purring frequency aids in reducing stress and healing bones. Cats have 5 toes on their front paws, but only 4 on their back paws. Ever noticed how cats always seem to find sunny spots? They regulate their body temperature by soaking up the sun. Cats can jump up to 6 times their body length. And here's a fun one. Cats sleep for about 70% of their lives. Fascinating, right? Hit the like button if you found this useful. Subscribe for more intriguing facts.
And there you have it. With a simple prompt and one click, I have an amazing video. No editing required, and I'm gonna post it and make millions from it. No, that's not what we do here. Of course, I was being sarcastic. We definitely want to do some editing here, and I think I probably got a better chance of winning the lottery and being crowned the King of England on the same day than I do of my little cat video here making millions of bucks. So let's get back to work. Over on the left, you have each of your scenes, scene 1, 2, 3, going on down. This top one is a common scene. That's a scene that plays across the whole video, and it contains the background audio. Now, if we click the title bar to our common scene here, then over on the right, you get some options that you could add to this common scene. You could add text, media, shapes, watermark, background audio, or effects. If we were to click on the background audio element within this scene card, but not on the actual title of the track, we'll just click outside of this track button, but in the background audio element. Then over on the right, we get some settings that we can fiddle with. We can adjust the volume and speed, add subtitles to that track, which would make sense since this is just a music track, and adjust the audio fade in and fade out. If I want to switch my audio track, I've got a couple of options here. I can click this auto pick button. That'll let the AI pick a different track for this video, or I can click on the track name here, which is apparently the nature of curiosity, and I can pick from any one of the tracks that it offers. I can search. I can also switch and just put a sound effect here instead of the audio track. I can also pull in audio from my folder from my assets, or I can go to this next tab and generate the background audio using AI. We'll go ahead and close this out, and back to this element on our scene card, I could also just hide this layer, or I can come over to the trash can all the way on the right and delete it. It'll ask me to confirm, and good. Now there is no background audio. The next thing I might want to do here is change up the voiceover voice. So let's come down to the first scene. We'll click on that card, and I see that the voiceover is by Kai. Click on Kai's name, and that opens up a whole list of voices that I can pick from. Now the little lightning bolt next to it just means that there is a voice style associated with that character. I can sort these by language, by the dialect, by the gender, and then of course by voice style. Since I'm on Kai, I have the option between default and conversational. These are the ultra realistic voices at the top. Let's look in this bottom group here at the standard voices and listen to a couple of them and see how they sound.
Fliki helps you create audio and video content using lifelike AI voices in less than a minute.
That was Jason, and he sounded pretty robotic, but he has a lightning bolt. If I drop this down, I can choose a different style of voice for Jason. Let's see what cheerful sounds like.
Fliki helps you create audio and video content using lifelike AI voices in less than a minute.
It was definitely a different style, but it sounds like our friend Jason has just consumed some gas station sushi and a microwave burrito and is in desperate need of finding a restroom. So let's play through a few other voices and see what we can find.
Fliki helps you create audio and video content using
Fliki helps you create audio and video content.
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 Now let's take a peek at some of the ultra-realistic voices.
Fliki helps you create audio and video content.
Fliki helps you create audio and video content.
Fliki helps you create audio and video content.
Fliki helps you create audio and video content using
Fliki helps you create audio and video content.
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 Fliki helps you create audio and
Fliki helps you create audio and video content using lifelike AI voices in less than a minute.
I think I'm going to go with Jack for this video. Then down at the bottom, before I click the select button, I want to come over here and make sure I check this box, apply to all scenes. That way I'll be changing this voice actor for the whole video and not just the one scene. So I'm going to click select. Right here you can see it switched from Kai to Jack, and if you opened up any one of these scenes you would find the same thing, that the speaker is now Jack. You might have also noticed when I clicked on the voiceover element over here, I get this box on the right that pops up, and it has all the settings for that voiceover. So we have the volume and speed, just like we did with the background audio, but we also have subtitles here that we can turn on, turn off, or adjust the size and the position of the subtitle box. And let me go ahead and move the video to a spot where we have a subtitle on the screen so we can see how our changes are affecting the output. To do that, I can either come over here and just click anywhere in this voiceover and pay attention to my little pink line down here while I do that. Notice that wherever I'm clicking in the text up top, it's advancing the timeline to that spot. I can also come down here to the timeline, drag this black dot, and find the spot I'm looking for. Now that we can see what we're doing as we're doing it, you can align the text, change the font, increase the font size, the letter spacing, the stroke width, all the things to do with the font. And you can also change the display, whether you want it to be by word, phrase, sequence, or you want the full text for that scene. We'll go phrase there, and then you can adjust the effect, this bubble. It looks like it bubbles out the active word or the spoken word. And then you can adjust those properties as well. If we want the spoken words text color to be blue or green, we could do that. If I like what I've changed here, I can click apply to all scenes, and it will ask me, are you sure you want this change to apply to all the voiceover layers in this file? Yep, I do. Go ahead and apply that, and that has been changed successfully. With that taken care of, let's see what we can do with the media. So still on scene 1, I've got the voiceover, but I've also got a media element. If I click on that, I've got properties over here on the right specific to that media clip. I can change the size of it. I can change the position, the rotation, change the fit from cover, which makes sure it's filling the entire screen even if it goes over, or I can contain, which brings it down so that the largest dimension will be within the aspect ratio of the size we're using. And then by default, it adds this background blur, which sort of uses an enlargement of the image, only really blurry, to make it look like it sort of belongs there and it's not just on a plain black screen. I'm happy with cover. I want it to fill as much as possible. That's cool. You can adjust the animation for this media right down here. If you check the animation box, get my fat head out of the way, you don't have a whole lot of animations to pick from. You have a fade, a blur, a rotate, a slide, and a zoom. We can say slide in, and for exit, we have the same options. We can slide out. We can set the duration of that. Maybe we want it to go a little quicker than 1 second. We'll move them both down to a half. You do have some subsettings underneath of things like slide. Click this little down arrow, change motion, and you can tell it where you want it to slide from. From the left, from the top left, from the top right. And for the exit animation, you can change that up too. If we say, you know what, we just don't like this video at all, this cat laying on the train tracks, we can come over here and click on this auto pick button. It'll pop up and ask us to confirm that we want to use auto pick, which is going to let the AI go find an image for this scene. The image might be better, it might be worse. And in this case, this is what it came up with. We could just drag that playhead back if we want to sort of scrub through without pressing the play button. Looks like some kind of working dog. I mean, at least we had a cat before. Let's roll the dice and hit auto pick again and see if it does any better. We'll say confirm. At least we got a cat again. We can grab this little dot down here on the timeline. That is your playhead, and we can move that and see what's going on. I can keep rolling the dice and auto picking, or I can go swap this image out myself. Just click on it, browse and search through videos, images, GIFs, stickers, or icons. Right off the bat, I'm thinking this cat here might be the one that I'm looking for. I could search for something different, but I could also click on this tab and use something from my assets, from things I've uploaded or generated already, or I can click on generate here and have AI generate an image, video clip, or sticker for this scene. For style, I'm going to stick with cinematic. There's these others you can pick from here. Let's try a video clip. It wants instructions. The example it gives is like a lighthouse on a cliff. I'm going to say a cat standing in the yard, and we'll click generate. First, it gives us an image. It says, are you good with this image? If you are, you can click generate video clip using this image. If this isn't at all what you wanted, you can regenerate the image and start with something new. We'll say, yeah, fine, this cat's good. Let's generate the video based on this image. That definitely took less than a minute. Let's see how it turned out. All right, so we have a little bit of camera movement here. The cat, the subject, isn't actually moving, but we do have some movement in the image, and that is more than just a zoom or something that you could do with an image, because notice as it turns, parts of the cat on the left are going out of view and parts of the cat on the right are coming into view. Is it a cat running, jumping, falling out of a tree? No, of course I did say a cat standing in the yard. I didn't tell it to make it run and jump. We'll change the prompt to a cat jumping off of a fence, and we'll regenerate image. That guy is definitely in full motion jumping something. Let's go ahead and say generate video clip using this image. All right, here we go. It looks like his tail was moving back there. Oh, and his paws are moving, so it did put a little bit of motion into him. Yep, the tail, the paws are moving. His facial expression is great. It's like he's completely just doesn't care. But hey, that's a cat. If we're happy with this, just check the pink box, use this video clip, and it drops it right in there. All right, I've got to turn off this animation up here because that is just driving me nuts. Just going to turn that animation off altogether. I think what I'd rather have here is something different before we get into the cat jumping. So to do that, within scene 1, I could just come up here and click Add Layer. We'll make this a media layer. To keep things organized, I'm going to come click on the far right option on this layer and just drag it down below the voiceover. So now my media is right next to each other. Then we'll click on this little image icon so that we can choose a file. I'm going to search for thinking, and we'll pick this lady right here. Uh-oh, we've got her over top of our cat. That's not at all what we want. So let's just click on her, click the fit screen button, and poof, she filled the whole screen. Now let's drag back through the timeline here, and where'd my cat go? I just have this lady covering the whole scene. Click on her since she's kind of my problem at the moment. Over on the right, down at the bottom, I'm going to click timing. Now it looks like this media, this video of this lady is 12 seconds long, and the scene time it looks like is 3.5 seconds. So it's using this video for that entire 3.5 seconds. I want it to start with that, but I don't want it to cover the whole scene. So I'm going to drag this little dot backward to about 1.5 seconds. And back over here in our scene cards, we've got this little progress bar that's showing us how much of scene 1 this video is taking up. So then let's click on our next media element in that scene, come back over here and click timing. We see that our media is 4 seconds. Scene time, we've got it set for 3.5. Since I used 1.5 for the lady that was wandering, I'm going to move this down to 2 seconds. And now our little progress bars show we've got the lady in the beginning, then we've got the cat. That's kind of what we want. Now, if we want to make sure we're showing the right part of our cat jumping video, we just want to show the beginning or we shouldn't want to show the end, you can make the trim happen in here as well. So I'm going to have my cat on for 2 seconds out of a 4-second clip. So I can drag the trim media from the end down and say I want to show the first 2 seconds, or I can grab my start dot, drag it in to where I have 2 seconds of the video playing, and now it'll be showing the beginning of the video with the lady and then the beginning of the cat video. I can come down to the timeline, drag this back to the beginning, scrub through. I've got lady thinking, wondering how do cats land on their feet, then we've got the cat going, then we go right into this next media. Now if you're adding animations and that sort of thing, you might even want these things to overlap a little bit so that there isn't a point where you have nothing on the screen. So we could take our lady thinking video, instead of saying 1.5 seconds, we could drag that out and say we're going to let this run for 2 seconds, and now you've got an overlap here to sort of cover if you have transitions or animations so you won't have a blank screen going on. What about changing the voiceover? Instead of saying in the next few seconds you'll learn some mind-blowing cat facts, we'll say me too, and what about some other cat facts? All right, let's see how that came together.
Me too. And what about some other cat facts?
Simple enough. It may be hard to see, especially if you're watching this on a phone, but it does show us here, this little 3 seconds shows us how long this scene is. We can see that for the other scenes in the bottom right-hand corner. Now, when we've selected a voiceover element, we get properties on the right to change the voiceover. When we click on a media element, we have properties that are relevant to the media. If we click on the header of the card, like up here where it says scene 2, we have the option to add different layers into this scene, or we can adjust the transition. And if this is turned off, it'll just be unchecked. You can check it and bring it back. And you can change your transition, the fades, the flips, the slides, all that kind of stuff. You can also set the duration. You can pick the easing from linear, whether it's one smooth motion, or spring, which makes the motion slower at one point and then fast at one point. You can also set the sound effect, and this is really handy that when you're setting a transition, you can set the visual part, but you can also apply the sound part to your transition right here in the same spot. That's pretty cool. You can set that to none so that there's no sound effect on the transition, or pick one of these, which are by far the most popular transition sounds. If you want to add a scene in between any of these existing scenes, you've got this little plus button where you can add a new scene. You can also duplicate this scene and it'll drop it right in. It'll ask you, are you sure? And now scene 1 just got duplicated and became scene 2, and scene 2 and beyond got renamed sequentially. Let's go ahead and get rid of that because we don't need a double scene 1. That'll just confuse me. Down at the bottom, this is pretty cool. You can add a scene at the end, or you can click this little AI button and auto-generate the next scene. Basically just tell it, yeah, keep going with this. That's pretty cool. Now with all of our previewing here, it does tell us down at the bottom to please note that this is a quick preview with lower resolution media, and if you encounter blank frames or silent audio, try playing again. So if you're looking at this and thinking it's a little bit grainy, it's because it's a proxy media. It's not the actual final file that's going to be included in the output. Let's take a look at scene 3, come down to the media. I noticed that we have what I'm guessing is an x-ray of a cat, which is perfect when we're talking about the cat skeleton, but I don't like the way it's shifted to the left. It really needs to be to the right. Click on that in the preview, switch it from cover to contain. That'll show me what the entire image is that I'm looking at, and that tells me that this video does contain the entire x-ray. I want more of this part in the scene and not so much the person reading the x-ray. I'm going to switch that back to cover so it makes it nice and big, and then I'm just going to drag it over here to the right, and then I'm going to grab this handle that's on the far left side and drag it out to the left. And maybe we need to move that over. There we go. So now that'll put my x-ray in the center. Now let's take a look at scene 4. I'll click on that rascal. And over here on the right, among the things that you can add a text layer over and above what you have in the subtitles. It gives you all the text settings that you can adjust, and over here on the left in this text element is where you'd start typing what you want your text. I don't really want any text there. I'm going to delete that. You could add additional media on top of this, or maybe you want a split screen of 2 different videos playing at the same time in the scene. You can add shapes, audio. You can even have an avatar present this if you want. You would just click on this avatar button on whatever scene you want to add it to, adjust the settings in this panel, click and have it be a close-up. You can turn that off and have it be a little bit smaller. If you want to move your avatar around, you can move them over to one side maybe. When you're happy with it, you just click the generate avatar video over here on the bottom right. It'll say, are you sure you want to do this? Click generate. It starts getting to work. You'll see this little generating button going on. And if you want to preview just this scene that you put your talking avatar in, you've got the options that I've shown you about moving your playhead here in your timeline, but you can also just come up to the top of the scene card for scene 4 and click the play button.
Did you know a cat's purr can heal?
If you want to change up your avatar character, just click on the image of them in your scene element and pick a different avatar from those that are available. If none of them suit your needs, you can even come over to this generate tab and generate your own avatar. Let's pop on down to another scene here. Let's grab scene 7. Over on the right, let's click effects and see what that's all about. And once you click effect on the right, you have some settings for the effect in this properties panel below it. But if you want to change the effect, come back over here on the left under this effect element where we just added it, click on this icon right here, and this is where you can see what effects are available. All these different particles and sparks and confetti and some other options that I guess I would call overlays or elements maybe. We'll just click this first one and hit select. If I drag the playhead through, I can see what they look like. Something else they have going on that I think is really handy is up here in the upper right underneath of this more. In addition to the translate, once your video is finished, you can translate it into one of the other languages. They also have this pronunciation map. With the pronunciation map, you can tell it, hey, when you see, for example, USA, I want you to say United States. So if the script is going along and it says something something in the USA, it'll read it as something something in the United States. This could also be helpful if you find that it's reading out something like a year like 1942. If it's reading it 1942 or 1942, you could put the numbers 1942 in here and then replace with, go ahead and spell it out in words and say 1942. For your file settings, which is also in the upper right, you can set a gap between the scenes and seconds if you want a little space between each scene. You can also change the aspect ratio here. This is what we started on, the 9:16 vertical. And if you want a background color for your scenes, you can also specify that here. This is using that really light gray color as the background, but you could change that up. Maybe you want it to be black or something. When you're ready to rock and roll with your video, come up here and click on download. I've not exported this before, so it's telling me, hey, we need to create an export. What do you want to do here as far as resolution and format? I'm going to go with 1080p because that's the highest one available. And then for format, I can go with MP4 or MOV. I'm going to pick MP4. I'll click Start Export. It asks me to confirm that I'm happy with it. Yep, let's hit the start. It lets us know that it's queuing the export, so it's sort of packaging everything together, rendering the whole video, and it'll send us an email when it's ready to download. It does tell us, hey, if you start making changes in this file while you're working on this export process, your export is not going to work. And that makes perfect sense. And before I could finish explaining that to you and go check my email, it pops up and says, hey, your export's ready to download. We can click this hot pink button down here to download our MP4. If we want our subtitle file, maybe to use it to upload captions, we can hit this subtitle drop down, choose between SRT and VTT file types, and download it. And here's something I really want to point out, which is credits are only charged for successful exports. Now, the export isn't the download. The export is when you said, yes, I'm happy with this. Go ahead and package this all together and render it as a video. So that's the step where it's charging credits when you say, yep, I'm happy with this. Go ahead and package it up. If I were to go back and make changes to this, then I need to export it again so that I'll be able to download it. Every time I export is when the credits are going to be charged. If you're wondering about this magic create button that's up here at the top, this is just another way to enter into the video creator, starting from any one of these points, either an idea, prompt, script, or any of the other options that they have for you. If we're all finished with our video, we can come back up here to files. And now in addition to these sample files that it provided me with, we've also got our new test 1 video that we created. If you want to take a look at what a design looks like in Fliki, we'll just click on this project, the sample project of the YouTube thumbnail. Now on the left, instead of scene cards, we have page cards. If we click on one of those, it expands and you get to see all the different elements that are on that page. This one has text, shapes, and media. You can also pick media here. Say we pick this lady. You can use auto pick just like we did when we were picking B-roll for our video. So we click auto pick. It'll say, are you sure you want to do that? I'll say confirm. I end up with fingers and toes. I'm sure it's seeing mind and it's doing some kind of meditation thing. I don't know. You could roll the dice again and hit auto pick, or just like we did in the video, click on the little icon of it. You can come pick from the stock media, or you can come over here and generate an AI image that you want to use in this design. Now, I peeked in on Fliki maybe a year ago, and I don't remember it being this good and having all these features. So I started digging around a little bit, and I went and looked at their What's New section. These are actual, like, real features that they're adding, and they're doing it pretty consistently. They've come a long way in building features into Fliki. Let's take a look at the pricing and see what it costs to do this stuff. I've got a promo code in the description, which I understand will get you 10% off monthly plans. I know it's not much, but every little bit helps. Also, there is a link to Fliki in the description. Of course, it's an affiliate link, which means if you end up making a purchase, you don't have to. Try out the free, see how it works, see if you like it. But if you do end up making a purchase, I may receive a small commission. I sincerely appreciate that. That's what puts food on my table. Thank you so much. The free tier is $0, no credit card required. It gets you 5 minutes of credits per month. I know that doesn't sound like much, but definitely test it out with like 1-minute videos so that you're not using all of your free credits to try one thing that didn't work out so good and now you're out. I say that from experience. You get some of the voices and some of the languages. It lets you create the videos from ideas, blog articles, PowerPoints, and treats. You get some images and stickers as well as generated AI assets, and these are 720p resolution, not the 1080, and they will contain a watermark. I would consider this a trial, and that's fair. Take a test drive, see if you even like the feel of it, make sure it's not something that's going to bug out and crash on you all the time. That's not been my experience, but by all means, you should try that out. The standard plan gets you 180 minutes of credits per month, 1,000 voices, including 150 ultra realistic. Now keep in mind, this number of voices is based on all the different languages that are available. So you saw the number of voices we had to pick from when I changed up the voice character. Videos can be up to 15 minutes in length. You get a lot more of the stock assets that you can pick from, translate into 80 languages. You have some AI avatars, voice cloning. You do not have to use one of the AI voices. You can either clone your own voice or you can upload or add your own voiceover and create your video based on that. No watermark once you're on the standard or above, and you get the commercial rights. Premium gets you a whole lot of credits per month, 600 minutes, all the voices, 30-minute video lengths. You can have multiple brand kits instead of just one. You can have multiple voice clones. This is where you can generate the AI video clips. Now we're talking about these credits. We need to come down to this FAQ where they explain that credits are deducted based on the duration of the audio generated from text or video exported. So if you modify the text or adjust settings like the voice or add pauses or whatnot, whatnot. Fliki's got to reprocess that audio. They're charging you for that. So you're going to use credits when you generate audio and when you export video. And they've got a video here in this FAQ that explains in detail how that all works, and I'm sure it's much better than I am at explaining it. I've been pretty impressed with what Fliki's been up to in the time since I last looked at it. They've incorporated a whole bunch of features, and I have been frustration-free during my testing. I haven't run into any of these what just happened moments where the whole thing locks up. Haven't experienced that, and I haven't found a situation where I wanted to do something and I'm like, why can't I do this? Where is the button? It's been fairly easy to navigate my way around and figure out how to do what I want to do and make things work. I also very much like that I can go in and actually edit what I want to edit. When I want to change the voiceover, I click the name of the voiceover person it's using and I select from a different one and put it in, and I've got a new voiceover. I'm not just typing that in an AI box and hoping it understands what I'm saying and actually makes a change. Are you going to be able to type a prompt into Fliki and generate the perfect video that you're just going to be ready to publish without doing anything to it? Absolutely not. I haven't seen one of these tools yet that really does that. I've seen some claim it, but I don't see any that live up to it. Fliki doesn't make that claim, and neither do I. I really like the fact that you can generate AI images right here within the scene, like right there where you want to put the image. That could save a lot of time moving back and forth between tools and platforms and websites trying to get all the things put together that you want for your video, especially when stock material for a certain subject isn't readily available. If you're looking for a tool to help you put together videos, I think Fliki is definitely worth a shot. It would be at the top of my list. If you have experience using Fliki, have any tips, tricks, complaints, or compliments to add, by all means, drop them in the comments section. I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.